You, what's your problem? That may be one of the basic questions to ask yourself. In the last video, I talked about how there's this kind of sense of expectation from outside of what it means to be a self-developed, self-improved person, maybe living with some kind of ethical impeccability of what's considered to be a correct way of living, being some kind of a fitness model with a perfect routine, or some kind of highly developed spiritual way of life. And there's so many pressures from outside and ideas about what is considered the best way to live. And if we look at self-development that way, it's very understandable to say, forget about it, I don't want anything to do with that. But I think where we can really make it useful, like where the way to really make it meaningful, to do something that actually matters, not just trying to match some idea of what maybe certain people think should be good and having to catch up with them and try to be more enlightened than them, more fit and more perfect in lifestyle. We can ask ourselves, what's your problem? What's wrong with you? What is off? What feels wrong? What is the issue? Something that feels not quite right. Something that feels like you're moving in the wrong direction. Do you feel that way? Do you feel like you are heading in the direction of something good? Or do you feel like you're moving away from something good? Do you feel like you're living the way you want to live? And if not, how are you not? What's the difference? What's that gap between the way you're living now and the way that you want to live? And if your answer is no problem, I'm fine, then you don't need to worry about any of this self-development, pondering the meaning of life and trying to adjust your lifestyle, and you don't necessarily need any of that. You don't need to listen to people telling you how to live a better life. If you're living the life that you want, it's only for people that are not quite there. That's where all these things can be useful. And only insofar as there's that gap, the difference between where you are and where you want to be. That's where you can actually use these techniques in the whole world of advice, and everybody has their system and they recommend this and they advise against that, and here's how they have their morning routine, and this is how you should have your morning routine, and this is how they work out and that's how you should work out, and this is the kind of good thoughts and these are the bad thoughts, and everybody has their system, their techniques, their recommendations, their program. So many different options. And all of these are like a toolbox. It's like a toolbox you can use to possibly find ways to move yourself, to change yourself, to change the way you live, to be a little bit closer to the way that you want to live. But none of it is something that you automatically have to do. You only have the opportunity to solve what you consider to be a problem. So it seems like the first step for any kind of self-development, life change, all this kind of stuff, is you identify for yourself, where do you feel that your life is not right? Where do you feel that something's wrong, something's off? And if you can't find that, then you're good. And then I would just say, keep living life the best you can. Keep making adjustments as things change and things move on. And don't worry about what somebody says is a better way to live, an ideal way to live, somebody's program for how to be more fit than you. You don't need any of it. You only need, this is something you can use to help you solve specific problems of how your life is not quite right, how you want to move your life, move your way of life closer to what you want. So, identify where you find this gap. Ask yourself what is not working for you and what you want to change. And then you can dive into this whole world of different tools and the endless advice you're going to get from everybody about what's the better way to live your life. But here I'm just another voice adding to the chorus of people talking and giving advice and talking about this stuff. And what I'm saying is, you don't need to listen to any of these people. You only need to go into them, go into their recommendations in as far as it'll actually be useful for what you want to do. So it all comes down to that problem, to that question: what is your problem? And what is not right? What do you want to change? That is the question that seems to begin everything. And the answer to that question, it doesn't come from anybody else and their opinions about you. It only can come from you and your experience of your life.